Welcome to the CAFMA Connect. We've been out for the last several weeks, so for those that are back watching, thank you. You can also tell that Chief Freitag isn't with us this week. He is in Alaska for a conference, so we wish him well and wish him warmth. But it is an honor to be back, and I'm blessed to be back in the room again. I've been out for a little while, so Chief Freitag assigned me to be in here. The nice thing is I get to pick who comes in with me. So, Debbie, thank you for coming in. With us this week, we have Dr. Debbie Ritterbush from Start Moving On. And we also, this is the first time, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, but for the first time we have a dog, Dory.
We do.
Is with us also.
It is the first, I believe.
Can you see Dory? Yeah.
Yes, you can see her. Yeah.
She's here today.
Yeah, perfect. Welcome, Dory. Actually, Dory's going to lead the second half, so this is big awesome. All right. With that, I know Kathy's going to keep us on track here for 15 minutes or less. But Debbie, I just real quick, as we start diving in to some of the topic this week, how'd you get into? Obviously, we've made a contract with you for counseling and services, and a lot of our folks already know who you are and everything. But what got you into trauma counseling, counseling for first responders? And obviously our contract even now. What got you into it?
Well, we've been contracted now for about a year and a half. And if we go back in history a little bit of Start Moving On, I started my practice in 2013. I moved up to Prescott from Gilbert to work at Embry-Riddle University to be their counseling director. And I did that for many years. And then in 2013, I started a small private practice. And of course, the fire hit that year. And so the Yarnell fire.
Yeah, okay.
So that really was the beginning of the catalyst of who we are today.
Okay.
We started out there was just two of us, and we belonged to the Arizona Trauma Recovery Network, and we would do pro bono work for all over Arizona if there was a disaster. So, of course, that year, everybody came up and helped us, and we began to help people running for their lives, houses burning down, and then after about a year, firefighters.
Okay.
And other first responders, as well as family members and city workers. And today we're still helping people with Yarnell fire. So as the years progressed, we just became more and more first responders. Okay. And so I would say the fire became our passion, after helping people through that Yarnell fire. And then today, contracting with several agencies, including CAFMA, and CAFMA for about a year and a half.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Obviously, we just hit the 10-year anniversary of the Granite Mountain fire. So obviously, it sounds like that was a big catalyst for your, involvement in the fire service and everything. Since we've made that, kind of agreement, a year and a half, it's been a long year and a half. Yeah. I feel like we've, navigated a number of things. Including the loss of two firefighters. But the partnership has been huge, in my opinion, just in our ability to navigate through those, and the support that you provided for me personally, the agency, has been very good. So thank you for that. Yeah. But how has, since kind of that year and a half, how has your practice grown and changed?
Well, in about 8 months ago, we decided we could not continue to grow at the rate we were growing because we were trying to help Yavapai County first responders and our civilians at the same time. So 8 months ago, we made the decision to turn away civilians other than our first responder families and move our civilian clients out to other counselors in town. So at this moment, all we serve are first responders and their families. And so we're really excited to do that. There's 11 of us. We will be at 12 real soon, counselors, and we just love being able to do all the different things that we can do to take care of the entire family.
Yeah, awesome. And just real quick, speaking of family, we have, I don't want to forget, we have several dates, that are, I think, important to pass along. Do you want to pass along those two dates?
Yeah, don't forget September 30th, Saturday is CAFMA's Partners Academy, which is held every year. We'll have a lot of great activities for the partners of our CAFMA employees. So I want to encourage everybody to come to Carta from 9 to 2 on the 30th of September.
Yep.
And then because we want to take care of your entire families, we're putting on a firefighter couples conference. It is on October 20th. We start at 5 p.m. and we'll be meeting for a few hours Friday night. And then on Saturday, October 21st, it'll be a full day from 9 to 5. We expect it to be a lot of fun, believe it or not, doing couples counseling or partners
That's
counseling.
good. Yeah.
Because the stuff that couples go through or partners go through, everybody goes through.
Yes.
And so we're just going to really have a good time helping everybody understand how they interact with their partners. So we're encouraging everybody to sign up by just going to our website, startmovingon.com, or to call into the office at 928-910-5145 and reserve a spot. It'll take place in Prescott this year at the One Church.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we've got that facility, and we expect to have a really good time.
Good.
Like I said, we really care about the families because we have found that firefighters and your employees do much better when their families are doing well.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I think that's certainly, I can speak from my own experience as well. We don't always know the impact of what we bring home.
Yes.
And we can even try to shield sometimes. We can try to protect, and we can try to share because they want to know sometimes what, maybe not the gory details, but like what are you battling through?
Yeah.
You don't realize all the time what you share with them or what burdens they carry with you. And so I think this is a great opportunity to bring both together and have some of the conversation.
Yeah.
Turns out marriage is tough sometimes. And so I think this is a great, opportunity just to go beyond just the individual and look at the whole family, which I think is awesome. So thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Besides kind of those events, what other services do you provide at Start Moving On for someone, whether it's our, a CAFMA member or another first responder? What services do you provide?
So it's kind of really exciting, the partnership that we have because of the benefits that you already provide your employees. We are in long relationships with those companies.
Yeah.
So we're able to just kind of be the one-stop shop where you guys can just not even worry about all the different benefits. If you need mental health services or any kind of family counseling, couples counseling, trying to pass a test, for movement up the chain.
Sure.
Whether it's the engineer test, the paramedic test, if you're struggling on anything like that, we'll help you. And you don't have to know a bunch of phone numbers. You just have to go to startmovingon.com and click on in the right-hand corner to the CAFMA button or call us to make an appointment. And that includes even if you don't want to see somebody at Start Moving On, as your mental health oversight, we're going to make sure everybody gets where they need to get and that they can use their benefits so it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah. No, and I think you've made it as easy as possible these days for folks to be able to just, even on their own, access the information and at least start the process. And the services you've helped us, anywhere from obviously helping somebody with counseling through, like I say, getting through an engineer's test or a captain's test or, maybe a failed promotion, all the way to helping us get folks to Maryland, for 40 days of inpatient treatment. So you've helped on all aspects of that, which has been awesome. And one thing I want to say on the podcast, because this came up the other day in conversation, return to work agreements.
Yes.
There's kind of a negative feeling for those return to work agreements. And I think it's important for people to understand not everybody who goes and gets treatment has a return to work agreement. Some of those are a partner with the individuals who have had maybe a more significant event where we are partnering with them to help them be accountable for what happened. But not everybody who goes and gets treatment or goes to the center gets return to work agreement. Yeah. It's specific, and we work with you on what that looks like at the end. So just a quick note to our own personnel. It's not always, don't make that a hindrance to getting help.
Yeah, I think that's really important to know because those are very rare.
Yeah.
We're not contracted by you to decide if people are fit for duty or whether or not they should be off an engine. We're here to support your employees and their families and whatever they need to get back to work and to meet their own personal goals. So that includes, you're right, it might be somebody who needs a higher level of care. And I'm going to just kind of ping pong off of what you said. You can get help at a higher level of care without having an addiction problem. That is what's so amazing about your union and about the fire service is that you have this ability to go to a Class A treatment center for any kind of acute stress or PTSD, and you don't have to have an addiction. And we've been so fortunate between the CAFMA charities and the Prescott charities and the 100 Club to actually make that painless and free to get rid of any blocks or barriers that somebody would have to come in and get help if they're struggling.
Yeah. And I think it's important, one thing to mention that September is Suicide Awareness Month. And to also recognize that, we are coming up on an anniversary of the loss of Captain Zach Fields. I know there's going to be an event planned by Captain Kuykendall and the family on October 2nd at Carta, just kind of a remembrance and ceremony. But with that, sometimes I think there's a fear for people to discuss suicide, and if somebody is struggling, I think there's sometimes a fear to ask somebody, are you struggling with suicide? Are you struggling with suicidal ideations? From a clinical perspective, is it dangerous to have open conversation with somebody in regards to their struggle with suicide?
No, not at all. Most people that are suicidal or having ideation or considering even suicide want somebody to know.
Yeah.
It's a hard conversation. I kind of contribute it to our culture. We don't talk about death. And we don't talk about suicide. It's just kind of a hidden thing. But the more we can bring it out in the open, the more that we can learn to ask each other if we're okay.
Yeah.
And even asking the question, do you feel like you want to harm yourself?
Yes.
I have never seen anyone who's suicidal ever not want to tell you that they're suicidal.
Yes. Yeah.
So usually it's us that are having the hard time asking the question.
Having the
but the
conversation,
suicidal person definitely wants somebody to know and help them, but they just usually remain silent. So when we see somebody changing, we need to ask, we need to say something if we see something.
And I think, like I say, go back to our culture. We see so much death and suicide in the fire service. And for myself, even, I watched a woman who was involved as a first responder, watched her take her life in front of me. So we see all levels of that. And I think that's why it leads to a harder conversation, but at the same time, a necessary conversation, especially when you see someone who has changed or someone who is struggling. Obviously, it's not, you don't want to just go around asking everybody. It's someone you have a relationship with and you see something in them. And so I think that's a good thing for folks to remember is a lot of times the barrier is not on the person who is struggling. It's on the person there sitting next to them. The barrier exists with us. I'm willing to ask the question. Going back to the Mighty Oaks, it's a big part of, the Mighty Oaks is, and asking that question is a big part of that. And one of the things that we do also is we watch a video from the other side, a spouse who lost her husband to suicide, and she provides her perspective. It's a hard video to watch, but at the end, it opens up a lot of dialogue with people that have been struggling with it. So if you are, seek help, and there's options for that. So.
There are a lot of options for that. First of all, one of the other things that we're doing with CAFMA is not just developing, but enhancing your peer support team. I noticed in every station there is a list of peers. CAFMA has a great peer team led by Rob Zuzueta. If anybody needs help navigating anybody through this process or that you have any concerns that someone's suicidal, Rob would be a great person to call or anybody on that list. We are on call 24/7 for CAFMA. So if you're really concerned, just talk to your captain or one of the peers, and you can get a hold of us 24/7 if you need us to come out, if you feel you're in over your head or not sure what to do. If you're afraid somebody's not doing well, there's a way to get a hold of us instantly.
No, very good. With that, that's all we got.
Okay.
We're going to close it down before Kathy jumps on me. But for all those who watch, thank you for watching.
Thank
Chief
you.
Freitag will be back next week. Thank you, Debbie, for
Thanks
coming
for the
on with
invite.
us.
Yes.
Thank you, Dory,
Yeah.
for being a support during this time. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And Chief Freitag will be back next week. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.